r/ask Reddit. What was something you thought would be easy until you tried it? Drawing. Every single time. Been an artist for a long time and this is still true some days. Some days I'm hit with inspiration and feel like I need to draw something. Then it ends up looking like butt. Other days I'll sit down to doodle and come up with something better than if I'd tried. This is honestly the truth. Like how come I can draw actual good artwork one day yet another day it looks like that of a 3-year-old? Making and maintaining friends as an adult. I never really put much thought into this until I had no friends left in adulthood and realized how easy it used to be as a kid in school in comparison. Any good methods you can share? Asking for a lack of friend. For me it's around shared hobbies and experiences with anyone you do know, even a coworker. Before the pandemic I joined a local amateur volleyball league and after games some of us would go out for dinner and drinks. A few people were into board games so we started meeting up for that. Another group of friends was just some coworkers who would drink on Sunday nights to beat about work and as people quit we just kept meeting up to talk shit so even though we all work at different places we still meet up. Managing your own time. Self-discipline. There are a lot of things that can distract you and bam it's 9 PM and nothing has been done. Turning notifications off can seriously help with this. Has anyone tried to learn to do a handstand as an adult? How is that so difficult? Thanks but I'm trying to do the unbroken wrist thing in my life right now. Mom not around anymore? You just have to accept that you may fall over and not hunch your body up protectively. Start against a wall with someone on hand to catch your spills. A trusty spotter should help you relax enough to let your legs fly free. Source. I'm definitely an adult. Have relearned handstands and cartwheels in my dotage. Playing the guitar. The jump from not being able to play anything to playing basic chords and a couple songs you like isn't that much and it makes you feel like such a badass. But the jump again to a working musician is astronomical. I tried and just got burnt out and it wasn't fun anymore. Playing guitar is so much harder than I thought it would be. I've been playing for about 6 months and it's a ton of work. Somewhere between 100 and 200 practice hours a lot of the fundamentals start connecting to each other and everything comes together. You're probably getting close to that. Getting a job. Oh, get a job? Just get a job? Why don't I strap on my job helmet and squeeze down into a job cannon and fire off into job land, where jobs grow on jobbies? How do 3 men in their 30s not have $800 between them? The economy is in shambles. Nasdaq. Dow Jones. Maintaining a proper work-life balance. When I was still in college, I'd either procrastinate way too much or I'd work non-stop. I was never able to find a balance where I was still getting shit done but not burning myself out. Unfortunately, I feel as though college is actually one of the worst times for a young adult to figure out a good work-life balance. There was always too much of something going on. Too many extracurriculars to attend that your friends were doing. Too many different classes placing independent demands on you for workload and homework. Too many people asking you to sort your life out. Asking you to think about a career. Where do you want to live? Where do you want to work? Have you signed up for summer classes? How about those grades? And if you need to pay your way through school with a job? Good luck. Have you kept in touch with friends? Family? Oh, now you're sick. That's gonna be a few days worth of schoolwork piling up. And breaks weekends aren't fun anymore because either you're thinking about all the things you have to do or will have to do once you go back. I'm a little bitter. Still. I'm about to graduate at 30 and these last 4 years have been some of the hardest in my life. By the time I realized that this was killing me I had no choice but to follow through. The culture around academia is disturbing. On the first trip to England, after renting a car, it proved to be a considerable challenge to drive on the other side of the road from what I was used to, especially in the roundabouts and on major highways. Stay left, 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 stay left. A lot of the parts from that Ninja Warrior show. I'm a very physically fit guy and always thought that first course looked like a breeze. Then I found a local gym with the different elements set up. Even just that very first part where you hop across a few platforms was tough. It is always unfair to some contestants. Some things such as the jumping and spider wall are very easy if you are a certain height, but I have seen many people fail just because they are not tall enough to do it. Even on the actual show, there was one girl that was too short to reach both sides of the spider wall and fell. However, when I was a kid I went to a Ninja Warrior training gym, and they had things such as the jumping, spider wall, and warp wall, except sizes so kids could do them. They were not any easier. Things like the warp wall were still the same size, and honestly, they were all very easy. It just takes the right strength and height. Snowboarding. I grew up on skis, and when I tried snowboarding I literally just rolled down the entire mountain like a slinky on the stairs. The amount of pain in the shins is too damn high. Skiing is basically like standing. If you can stand, you can ski. Snowboarding, you need to use every muscle in your body, or you die. As someone who does both, the best way I've found to describe the difference is that skiing is, in general, much easier to learn, but harder to get really good at, whereas snowboarding has a much steeper learning curve, but once you get pretty good at it, you will progress very quickly. Learning a second language. I understand it's far easier as an adolescent, but, conversational German for an English speaker is very hard for me. Mudding and taping sheetrock. It's easy, unless you want it to look good. That's the issue. Mine never looks good, not even patchwork. True, I can see every imperfection and bubble whenever I go into the room. No one else seems to notice, but I do. Being an adult. I always used to think adults were crazy when they told me as a kid that being a kid is the best. I can honestly disagree because I came from a divorced toxic home and in school was bullied. I became my own man with my own problems, and after I later reconciled with my parents, I managed to turn my adulthood around to make it amazing. I can relate. I always thought it was stupid when adults said being a kid was the best. No, I know it's stupid. I would kill myself if I was always a kid. I remember when I was 6 or 7 or maybe even younger I started counting down how long till I was 18. Like I would say I'm 1/3 of the way to 18, or when I turned 9 I was like, I'm halfway there. Pretty much every few days or few months I would notice how long till I was 18 and count down. I don't know. Just thought it was a funny anecdote. But yeah, it's great you have money to burn. Don't need to be around violent jackasses who have absolute power over you and love to let you know about it. The worst part is, through all the horrible torture that was to be a kid, a lot of people have had it worse than I did. If someone prefers being a kid to being an adult, their childhood must have been heaven. Socializing with a group of people I usually wouldn't hang out with. It's either that or I stay alone forever, but I just can't find any sort of relatability to these people. I've found that hanging out with co-workers is very unfulfilling most of the time because the only thing we have in common is work, and then we only talk about work. Sigh. I am actually so fortunate to not have this at all and didn't appreciate it until just now. Of the 6 people in my office, 4 of us really get along and actually have a good bit in common. When we go out we don't ever speak about work at all. Healing from trauma takes so damn long. 4 solid years of therapy at a men's center for sexual abuse survivors is what it took me. 2 weeks ago was my last session, and I'm actually happy it's over. I am able to live, be functional, and so happy. I'll never be 100% because the damage was done when I was in my childhood, which made my brain maladapted on a physical level. I also still have attitudes and underlying beliefs about so many different things that will literally never change. I just have to recognize and check my thought processes. Consistently working out. I've found that it's best to do whatever you feel you can actually keep up. Used to do methodical full body workouts when I went to the gym and would get burnt out in weeks. But now I just do a muscle or 2 a day and I've kept at it for about a year now. Working a job. Doing the job physically itself, I have no problem with. Mentally, it's the drain of bad management and feeling like you're wasting your time. Throwing dough to make pizza, and pretty much the rest of the pizza making process. Getting the dough into a round 18 inches pie is tricky. Then getting the sauce even and not on the crust is a process. And getting all of it done as quickly as possible. After several hundred pizzas I can crank them out pretty good now though. Statistics. I'm pretty good at all forms of math, but that one. Statistics is the only math I could get an A in college. I suck at math. I just don't understand it. But statistics was easy for me. Not turning off my brain. First watch Point Break, and then Bad Boys 2. Living on my own. For me it's just the always being alone thing. My place is cleaner and more organized than I've ever been able to keep it now. But it hits hard. No one to talk about your day with. No one to say goodnight to. No one to talk about the future with. Video games are even weird. For my entire life they were a co-op thing. Now it's just me and I find my interest has gone way down. Everything in my life revolved around 2 people. It's quite an adjustment. Mentally, I'm doing way better. But still, everything is different and even a year on now, it's hard. The whole COVID thing has really made it worse. Of course, I'd probably feel very differently if the entire world wasn't stuck in our own little holes by ourselves. Pottery. I made a couple of very small, crappy bowls on the wheel, but the thing I made the best and far more often was a giant mess. I can sculpt fine but those stupid bowls get me. Building in Minecraft. Sounds silly but man I'm bad at building. I've been playing since it was playable and I still make my buildings too small. It's an infinite world. I can have all the floor space I want, and it always turns out cramped. Golf. I was watching the US Open on TV and seeing the players chatting with their caddies as they took a leisurely stroll down the fairway in the sunshine. I thought that's the game for me, so I borrowed a set of clubs and went out, on my own, in the UK, in winter. I got home wet, tired, hungry and covered in mud and scratches with twigs in my hair after hitting about 200 strokes and losing over a dozen balls. I played for a couple of years but I was still pretty bad at it. Kickflipping a skateboard. The mechanics of it seem so obvious and simple but it took me months of trying before I landed one and I was never able to do it consistently. I think you just need to double tap A. Decorating cakes with various style frosting tips. You have to get the frosting at just the right temp or it all either melts immediately or it's too hard to work with. Apparently also works better with homemade frosting. I bought whipped buttercream that comes in a little tub and it was way too oily. Still looked alright but I definitely want to get better at it. I'm artistic and thought it would come naturally to me but it was really not as easy as it looks. Whoa. You made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content bruh. It's free and that's a great price.